Welcome into practice. We are going to spend some time in this practice kind of working with the fall equinox, which happened very recently, September 22nd. And that is a time where we're really transitioning from the summer season to the fall season. But it's a time that I think is really ripe for some thoughtfulness as well. And so I'm going to bring in the work and some readings from one of my favorite supportive works. It's called Prayers of Honoring by Pixie Lighthorse. And I think sometimes when we transition to the fall season, there's a lot of language that's around like letting go and releasing what no longer serves you. And that can be great. I'm certainly not opposed to that. And there's a lot of imagery in nature to support that idea of letting go. But I read something recently, and it's echoed in this prayer from this book as well, that said, what do you want to bring with you from the previous season into this one? And then how are you planning to like transform or build upon or grow that in this season to come? And I was really struck by that idea of like not having to drop everything and let it go and leave it all behind, but like really sitting with that question of what do I actually want to bring with me and then build on. We are going to do this as a VinYinasa practice. So we'll have a pretty steady flow practice for about 25 minutes, followed by 3 yin postures on each side near the end of the practice, about the last 20 minutes or so. So with that said, come into a comfortable seated position. We're going to start with just a few rounds of mindful breathing. So we want to make sure that we have a nice corridor for the breath. The spine is nice and tall and upright. I'm sitting on a block, so if that is supportive for you, feel free to bring that in as well. Just find a nice resting place for your hands. That may be on your lap or on your knees, somewhere on your thighs. And then maybe either closing the eyes, maybe letting them rest, or just finding something that's pleasant to look at in your surroundings and just resting the eyes there. And just dropping into the experience of what it's like to be you in this moment, what it's like to be in your body as it continues to take those breaths that keep you alive. And this prayer that Pixie Lighthorse writes in her book, Prayers of Honoring for the Fall, there's a particular prayer that she welcomes in for this season that's all about honoring wisdom. And she says, show us how to use what we already have to get where we're going. Remind us that it's all within us right now. So as we transition to the fall season, maybe not just focusing on what we're letting go of, and what we're shedding, but really thinking about how we can use what we already have from previous seasons and how we can bring that into this new season of fall to help us get where we're going. This reminder that it's all within us right now. The next time you breathe in, taking that full clarifying breath in and exhaling completely to breathe out. We're going to do a few rounds welcoming in some sound, so breathing in fully. And then as you exhale, you're going to make a hissing sound like a snake. So take that one more time, inhaling fully and exhaling to hiss. The next 2 rounds will make a shh sound on the exhale, so inhaling fully, exhaling, shh, not pushing the sound, just letting it go out naturally at its own pace, inhaling, exhaling that shh sound. Third sound is going to be a really soft ha sound, inhaling. Exhaling. One more time, inhaling. And that soft ha sound. Closing the lips, moving into your natural breath. If you're familiar with an ujjayi breath, where there's a slight constriction of the lower abdomen, a little bit of a constriction near the back of the throat, and the breath becomes audible. As you breathe in, it's similar to sucking through a straw with the mouth closed. As you exhale, it's similar to fogging a mirror, but again, keeping the mouth closed. Continuing that ujjayi breath, and as you feel ready, blinking open the eyes, making your way into an all-fours position for some intuitive movement. Not overthinking this intuitive movement as you just drop into what feels good, as you get acquainted with your body for the practice. Really no wrong answers here. Feeling into all those parts of your body that may just need a little bit of attention. And then eventually walking your hands back towards your knees, lifting your knees as you drop your heels and find your way into a forward fold. Go ahead and widen your feet about the width of your mat, so quite wide for a really wide Uttanasana. Let the spine hang, the arms hang, the head hang. The weight of the head is really heavy here. And then welcoming in some swaying side to side. One of the elements of nature that can be really common as we shift from the summer into the fall season is a little bit more of a blustery, windy quality. And so just welcoming in that airy, ethereal, wind-like quality into some of the shapes that we have today. So maybe letting the torso really sway from side to side here. And then we're going to start to lift and lower a few times between this wide Uttanasana and dropping into a Yogi Squat. So let that swaying come into more of a static position. Take a full inhale here, and then as you exhale, ride your breath down as you drop your seat. If you need to turn your toes out, you can. Find your way into a Yogi Squat, lifting the hands up into prayer. And then again, if there's some movement that feels nice here, just to kind of start to coax the body open in this position, feel free to take that. Sometimes I kind of lift one heel or I'll sway from side to side, alternating as I kind of exaggerate an opening of the inner thigh and the groin area. And then we're going to move with the breath up and down 5 times into that wide Uttanasana, dropping into the Yogi Squat. So as you inhale, lift the seat, fold into that wide Uttanasana, and then exhale, ride the breath down into your Malasana. And moving with your breath, inhale lifts you up, you find that forward fold. Exhale, you ride the breath down, dropping into the squat. 3 more, inhaling to lift and fold. Exhaling to drop and squat. 2 more, again, another kind of quality of those transitions between seasons, drop and squat. Last time is the changeable weather. Lifting, we often have to dress in layers, dropping into the squat. And then this time walking the hands forward, making your way to your first down dog and letting this again be a dialogue, conversational, welcoming any movement that allows you to get to know your dog for this practice. And so there's some elements of the VinYinasa portion of this practice that are reflecting that kind of changeable quality, that up and down, flowing nature of things changing as they can't quite decide what season they are yet. We're going to flow from our down dog into our up dog, but we're going to keep the toes tucked. So start to find your way into a more classic down dog shape, not quite as much movement, a little bit more stillness, really anchoring into those 4 points of contact. And then we'll start to welcome in that airy, kind of fluid quality, that changeability. So as you inhale, rippling through the spine, let yourself roll through a plank. So if for a brief moment you're in that strong plank, keep your toes tucked, begin to drop the pelvis to the mat, pull the heart forward through the upper arms, lift the chin, and exaggerate the pushing down of the palms into the mat. Reach your heels back more strongly. Inhale here. And then exhale, lift the hips, roll back up to downward facing dog. Let's take that 5 times movement to breath. Inhale, rolling, pass through plank, drop the hips, pull the heart forward, lift the chin. Exhale, roll back to that down dog. 4 more. Inhale, rippling and rolling forward, briefly passing through that plank on the way to your up dog. And then exhale, rolling back to your down dog. 3 more. Inhaling, full breath forward. Exhale, full breath back. 2 more. Inhaling, what are you bringing with you from the past spring, from the past summer? Rippling back to down dog. That you want to bring with you into this fall and winter. Rippling forward last time through plank into that up dog. Exhale, down dog. Moving into our first standing posture, look forward, move your right thumb to your left thumb. Step your right foot forward. We're coming into a high lunge. Walking the hands up onto the hips, lifting the shoulders, stacking them over the hips, finding that high crescent lunge. And then bring the forearms together. So palms together, inner forearms, inner elbows. So if I were facing you, I've got this really tight squeezing of the arms. I feel my pec muscles engaged and pushing the forearms together. As you inhale, lift your fingertips towards the ceiling without separating the forearms. Exhale, drop the elbows down towards the top of your right thigh. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, lift it up a little. Exhale, drop the elbows. 1 more time, keep squeezing, lift the fingertips. Exhale, drop the elbows. Release the arms, inhale, reach them all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands down to the mat, step back, downward facing dog. We get our first vinyasa of the practice. Inhale, forward to plank. You decide if you want to come all the way to the floor or through chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, making your way back to downward facing dog. Take a clarifying breath between sides, breathing in. Exhale, breathing out. Looking forward, left thumb to right thumb, step the left foot forward. Setting up for that high crescent lunge, second side, stacking shoulders over hips. Once you get stable in the balance, palms together, inner forearms, inner elbows. Inhale, lift the fingertips towards the sky without separating the arms. Exhale, drop elbows to that left thigh. 2 more times. Inhale, lift, but don't separate. Exhale, drop. Inhale, feeling that expansion in the upper back. Exhale, drop the elbows. Release the arms. Inhale, big breath in, reach up. Exhale, hands down, step back. Vinyasa, shifting forward to plank. You choose your journey here. Back bend that feels good and nourishing to you. Back into that downward facing dog. We'll take a clarifying breath before we move into our second standing posture. Moving into warrior 2, looking forward, stepping the right foot forward between the thumbs. Spinning the left heel down, windmilling the arms up and open, Virabhadrasana 2. Create field goal post arms here. Press your forearms back. Feel that squeeze, that engagement in the upper back, as if you were taking the scapula, your shoulder blades, and moving them towards the vertebra of your spine. Turning your head to look towards your right forearm, and then introduce a mild, subtle bouncing in that front knee. Again, just introducing that variability as we change seasons, a little bit of unpredictability moment by moment, and how that unpredictability can kind of shake us out of our preconceived notions. It can also make us uncomfortable. 2 more breaths with this little bit of a bouncing quality to our warrior 2. What do you like about the bouncing? What do you not like about it? Just noticing. And take 1 more breath, extend the arms, stop the bouncing, windmill the arms down, and vinyasa, flow it out. Plank, chaturanga or to floor. Back bend of choice, down dog, clarifying breath between sides.
How can I use what I already have to move me towards what I want to go towards? Looking forward, left foot between the thumbs. Spin the right heel down, windmill the arms up, Virabhadrasana 2. Feel goal post the arms, and then really intentionally pull the forearms back. So we're feeling the shoulder blades move towards the vertebra of the spine. That real sense of awakening in the upper back, and then that little introduction of a bounce in the front knee. Turning the head towards that left forearm. Sometimes when we're in that changing of the seasons period, we just want it to, go ahead and get fully into the season already. Stop that oscillating back and forth. And yet that's not the nature of things. When we're in that transitional phase, it's not linear. It kind of ebbs and flows. One more breath with the bounce. And then as you inhale, extend the arms, classic warrior 2, stop the bounce. And then windmill the arms down and flow it out. Shifting forward, VinYasa. Inhale to back bend. Exhale to down dog. One breath to clarify before we move into the third standing posture. Looking forward, right foot between the thumbs. Spin and lower the left heel. Straighten your right knee. We're coming into Trikonasana triangle pose. Right hand could be on a block. It could be on the right shin. Could be on the floor. Many, many options. Take one more breath in a classic Trikonasana. And then there's going to be the option to play with, it's sort of a fallen version, a fallen triangle. So bring your left hand down to your waist and turn your head to look down to your mat. So I saw Baron Baptiste, I took a class from him many years ago, and this was a version of fallen triangle he taught. So we're gonna walk the right fingertips behind us, a little bit like uncomfortably back, because you're gonna actually fall into the right hand. I widen my legs even more than I already do in Trikonasana, pull my pelvis forward and shoot my left arm. So it's almost like an arm balance. It's this fallen triangle variation where I really have the weight in the back arm, almost like a side plank. Take one more breath right here. And then to come out, turn your head to look down at the mat, lower your left hand, walk your hands to the front of your mat, and you're in a lunge, and then step back and flow it out. Moving through your VinYasa. Back bend, down dog, clarifying breath between sides, and exhale. And then looking forward, left foot forward, right heel spins down, building your Trikonasana. The classic pose here to begin, I'm just turning around so that I can do that variation with a little bit more space. Right arm is reaching to the ceiling. One more breath here. In the traditional Trikonasana shape. And then to move into the variation, bringing the right hand to the right side of the waist, turn the head down to the mat, walk the left fingertips behind you a little bit farther than you think you should, and then kind of fall into the left hand like it's a side plank, widen the feet, push the pelvis forward and up, and re-extend the right arm for 2. One more full breath in. And then looking down at the mat, walking the hands forward as you bend the left knee, you're in a lunge, and then step back, VinYasa, flow it out. Clarifying breath in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Last posture that's standing, step the right foot forward between the thumbs. Walk the hands to the left. Prasarita Padottanasana. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, walk the hands back in line with the feet. Engage that arms to actually push down into the mat and gently encourage the crown of the head down to the floor. Think of lifting and broadening the sitting bones towards the ceiling. Accessing a deeper opening through the upper hamstring. And then you may not need to change anything, but notice where the weight distribution is in your feet. Is it really sinking back into the heels? Maybe just play with a slight tilt, coming more towards the toe side of the feet. And then inhale, walking the hands forward. Walk the hands to the front of the mat. Vinyasa, flow it out, step it back. Chaturanga. Urdhva Mukha. Adho Mukha, clarifying breath between sides. Looking forward, left foot between the thumbs. Walking the hands to the right, feet turn parallel. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, walk the hands back and through. So your fingertips are facing away from you and are walking away from you, and you use the arms to pull the head down towards the floor. If the head kind of comfortably reaches the floor, you may actually narrow the width of the feet ever so slightly and then re-engage with the posture, drawing the head down. You'll feel that kind of in the outer seam of the legs. One more breath right here. And then walking the hands back through and forward, inhaling to lift and lengthen. Walk to the front of the mat, Vinyasa, flow it out. Inhaling, back bend. Exhaling, down dog. So we have time to move through that sequence, linking those 4 postures together 2 times. Movement to breath. Thinking about what you want to bring with you from previous seasons. What have you cultivated? What have you really been working on that you don't want to just let go of? You don't want to leave in this previous summer or spring. You want to bring it with you into the fall and the winter, and you actually want to build upon it. How can you use what you have to get where you want to go? One more breath here, downward facing dog. And then lifting the head, looking forward, right foot steps forward between the thumbs. As you rise up, palms together, forearms together, inner elbows together, full in breath here. Exhale, open the arms, field goal post, warrior 2, push the forearms back. Straighten the right leg, folding down Trikonasana, walk the right hand behind you, lift the left fingertips, fall in triangle. And then looking down, walk the hands to the front of the mat, keep walking to the left, turn the feet parallel, inhale, lengthen, exhale, fold for a full breath. Inhale, lifting the head, lifting the spine, walk the hands to the front of the mat, and Vinyasa, flow it out. Chaturanga or to floor, cobra, locust, or up dog, and downward facing dog. Full breath in, full breath out. Looking to the front of the mat, left foot forward. As you rise, palms together, forearms together, inner elbows together, push. In breath here. Exhale, opening that right forearm, field goal post arms in your warrior 2. Trikonasana, straightening left knee, left fingertips to floor. Walk the left fingertips behind you, push the pelvis forward, lift the right arm. Then looking down, walking the hands across that right leg and over to the right as the feet turn parallel. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold, Prasarita. Full breath in and out. Walk the hands to the front of the mat. Vinyasa, flow it out one more time each side. Downward facing. Looking forward, right foot forward, lifting up, crescent lunge with those forearms pushed together. Inhale, lift the fingertips. Exhale, open the forearms, warrior 2 with field goal post arms. Inhale there. Exhale, Trikonasana, fallen triangle, right fingertips behind you, left arm up, lift the pelvis. Exhale, looking down, hands walk around to the left, feet turn parallel. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold down and through. In breath there. Exhale, stay. Inhale, lift the head and the heart. Exhale, walk the hands to the front of the mat, flow it out. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, down dog. Second and final side of the flow, left foot forward. High lunge, forearms together. In breath, lift the fingertips. Out breath, warrior two with those field goal post arms. Inhale there. Exhale, Trikonasana. Fallen triangle, left fingertips behind you. Push the pelvis forward, lift the right arm. Exhale, looking down, walk the hands to the left, feet turn parallel. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, walk the hands through and fold. Inhale there. Exhale, stay. Inhale, lift head and heart. Exhale, final vinyasa. Inhale, up. Drop the knees, sit back, folded leaf. Inner knees, inner thighs together, hips to heels. Completely your choice as we start to shift into the yin portion of the practice. You could keep the arms forward, maybe rotate the palms to face up towards the ceiling, or you could place the arms back, really letting the shoulders roll forward towards the mat. Letting yourself engage in this transition from the strong, fluid, flowing part of the practice where we were linking movement to breath, to making the transition to stillness, a slower pace, staying in one shape for a longer period of time. In the season of autumn, which is connected to the element of water, we often think about surrender, cleansing, forgiveness, what it means to flow in order to overcome obstacles, to release. And as we think about all of those qualities of the fall season that we are just now entering, it may be really valuable to ask ourselves, how can we use what we already have to get where we're going? To remind ourselves that it's all within us right now. Last 30 seconds in this folded leaf pose. Maybe thinking of all of the leaves that have recently shed themselves from their branches, surrendered themselves to be the mulch of future goals and dreams. Letting yourself be a little fallen leaf. We're going to begin to transition to the banana pose. So if that's a pose that you're familiar with and you want to move there in your own time, by all means. If you need a little bit more instruction, I would invite you to slide forward onto your belly and then eventually roll over onto your spine. Once you get onto your back, take a moment to just let the pelvis really find the center of your space. And then we'll begin to build the banana pose by inviting both of the heels over to the bottom left corner of your mat. And there's always the invitation to stack the right ankle over the left. And then for the top half of the pose, sweeping the arms out and overhead, maybe even lifting and sliding the shoulders over to the left just a few inches, and just letting one hand rest in the palm of the other. Elbows are soft. The awareness in this pose is on the seam of the right side of the body, where the breath is trickling up and down that right seam, gently introducing more spaciousness. And in all of these yin positions, we're looking to find a Goldilocks sort of body temperature here, where the pose is neither too intense nor too gentle. We want there to be some sensation, but sensation that still allows you to be fully present in your body with a nice depth of breath, that just right quality of sensation. Taking 2 more breaths in this banana pose. And as you complete the second round of breath, very gently unwinding the banana shape, coming back into neutral, sliding the shoulders back to the middle of the mat, and then bending the knees one at a time, placing the feet on the mat. If you haven't already, bring the arms alongside you as we set up for twisted roots pose. So we're gonna stack or cross the left thigh over the right thigh. You could think of this as eagle legs if that's a position you're familiar with. So you could keep just the left thigh over the right, or if you like to wrap the left foot behind the right calf, you could do that as well. And then draw the legs in closer towards the abdomen and the chest. And take the arms out wide into a T position. Take a nice full in-breath here. And then it's a little bit counterintuitive, but for twisted roots, we drop into an open twist by letting the legs fall over to the left. So this is a deeper twist in the lower back area. And that top left leg is introducing a little bit of a weighted quality on the right leg. The right arm is open and heavy. And seeing how we can get heavier and heavier in these yin shapes. So we're dropping into them more and more deeply, kind of lessening our resistance to the shapes. Just about 2 more breaths here in twisted roots. And then again, for those of you that like to know where we're headed, we're coming into supine tree with the left leg in the tree position. So you can engage the core just enough to invite those twisted roots back into neutral. Lower the right foot back to the mat. And then as you uncross the left thigh, you can open that left leg out into a tree position and just slide and extend your right leg along the mat. And the arms here can take a variety of different shapes. So sometimes people like to rest the hands on the belly, which can be very grounding. Or if you want a more open position, you could take the arms into kind of like that field goal shape, or even bring them overhead, stacking one hand in the palm of the other. And you may think of this shape as similar to that folded leaf, but maybe you're a big open leaf that recently fell from a branch, and you've kind of surrendered yourself to being released to the earth, preparing all of your nutrients to be mulch for the seasons ahead, kind of enriching the things that are growing down in the root systems underneath you. And so there's this felt sense of letting go, but at the same time bringing all of your nutrients with you. All of that yumminess that you crafted and soaked up over the summer months are coming with you as you go to nourish the earth for what will ultimately be recycled and reborn in the spring. And over the next breath or so, begin to re-extend that left leg, and we'll begin to move into the banana pose on the second side by inviting the right heel, or the both heels rather, over to the right side of your mat, and then crossing maybe left ankle over right if that feels good. And then depending on the space in your body, it may feel nice to kind of slide the shoulders over to the right a bit, so that awareness really comes into the left side of the body. And every pose is a new kind of line of questioning, because where the Goldilocks was in one pose is not the same as it is in another. So every time you come into a shape, you have to be like, okay, what's too much here? What's not enough? Where is it just right? And so just how we have to be in the transition of seasons, we have to be really present, really intentional. We have to bring that same kind of presence and intentionality in every shape we come to on our mat, this constant ongoing dialogue about, what do I need right now? Where am I placing my awareness? And just taking one or two more final breaths in this banana pose. And then you know where we're heading. We're coming into that twisted roots on the second side. So getting there in a way that feels good to you, maybe uncrossing the ankles, coming back to neutral. Your body may need to kind of linger in neutral for a moment, or it may be ready straight away to bend the knees, bringing the feet to the mat. This time it's the right thigh that's going to cross over the left. You could, again, choose to wrap the right foot behind the left calf, or that may feel like a stretch too far. But in either case, we're going to invite the legs up and into the abdomen and chest area. Arms come wide. And then remembering it's a little bit counterintuitive, this twisted roots, we bring the legs to the right. So it's that open twist, which can feel really nice in the belly. There's a little bit more spaciousness for the abdomen to move with the breath, which I personally really appreciate. And even just noticing posture by posture where the practice brings your attention into the body. because every pose is going to kind of refocus where you're feeling sensation, a new area of the body to come into relationship with, something else to attend to. And then we're coming into that final shape before Savasana, which will be the supine or reclined tree pose. So you can really make your way there in your own pace. You want to engage the core enough to bring those twisted roots back to center. Left foot finds the mat, and then as you uncross the right thigh, the right knee opens into that reclined tree. The left leg extends forward along the mat. And then the branches of the tree on this side may be different. You know, you may want them resting on the body somewhere. You may want them out to the side or overhead. No wrong answers here. But over and over again, asking the practice to show you how you can use what you already have to get where you're going. To remind you that it's all within you right now. We're moving into the final 3 minutes of our practice. And so whenever you feel led and ready to transition into Shavasana, you can start to move your body into that position for deep relaxation. If there's anything you need to bring in as a support for the body, you can do that. Or if there's anything you need to change about your environment, the lighting, placing a blanket over the body, but just doing anything you need to do in order to craft the most nourishing environment for yourself for these 3 minutes of relaxation. During this 3 minutes, I'm going to be threading in words from the rider Pixie Lighthorse from her prayer on honoring wisdom in the fall season. We are so grateful for our precious lives. We are listening. Open us even more, for we are ready to be both sharpened and softened all at once. Show us how to use what we already have to get where we're going. And remind us that it's all within us right now. Help us pull through the eye of the impossible needle and be victorious in our flexibility. Humble us now more than ever. Lead us towards our deepest healing and elevated understanding so we can climb the mountain of our highest potential. And allow us to be bold in our expressions of love. Take away all hesitancy and resistance so that we may become who we've always been. Take away all hesitancy and resistance so we may become who we've always been.
Taking 1 or 2 final breaths, resting in your Savasana. And then very gently reawakening the body with subtle movements through your fingers and your toes, your wrists and your ankles. Perhaps reaching the arms overhead for a full body stretch. And then in a way that feels natural and intuitive to you, guide yourself back up to a comfortable seat to close the practice. As we prepare to close the practice, you could always bring the hands somewhere on the body, which is a gesture of incredible gratitude for its participation, or you could bring the palms of the hands together. And we ask that the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light, which sounds like these 4 words in Sanskrit. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Victory to all of our practices.